Hey folks, it's Marvin Cash, the host of the Articulate Fly. We're back with another East Tennessee fishing report with Ellis Ward. Ellis, how are you?
I am doing well, Marv. How are you?
And as always, I'm just trying to stay out of trouble. And you're hot back from the Eastern Kentucky Musky Classic?
Kentucky River Musky Classic. You're pretty darn close. And freshly from that to 4 trips and some days with both my 4-month-old son and 6-year-old daughter. So we are all over the place.
Interesting. And you're still on the wagon, right?
Barely. Sort of just getting dragged, but I got a couple fingers stuck in between the boards.
Well, we'll hang in there. So, tell us, give us a 30,000-foot recap of the Muskie Classic. I would imagine it was a lot of gas station food, crappy weather, but some fish were caught. And I imagine, as we're starting to warm up, things are looking better on the South Holston and the Watauga as well.
So I had my jet boat knocked off of my trailer on the way to the tournament. And while I was moving, it got swiped. And shout out to the 1976 Aluma Weld and the Suzuki 2-stroke 4028 jet. Positioned correctly, might I add. Despite sparks flying and that car putting a decent gash into the side of the boat, we were able to fish for 2 days really hard. The second day, we were blasting through a log jam, trying to get up into some clearer water. And spoiler alert, the muskies were not there. We did end up seeing 2, but nothing to the boat. Kind of the same story for a number of people. And it's, one of the forks was, I think this year was a better turnout, and the water, generally speaking, was better. But last year we were there. Like, I know we had this conversation last time about it ended up being about some prefrontal talk or barometer talk too. But last year was just like the day after the crest of everything was blown. And this year there were some of these businesses where we're talking, Campton and Bettiville and the Irvine, Kentucky, small towns, and it was a week after, like, catastrophic, not Helene level, but man, you're looking around trees. It's 10, 12 feet up in the air. Like, I'm excited. The number of, part of me hurts a little bit for, I know Dave's put on a great event for 2 years in a row and hasn't complained at all. And it's just like the conditions were just not favorable. And but that's part of the fun that's and the beauty of that tournament is it's the main stems, middle, south, and north fork, and then the combined all together. But then, like, we fished a little bit of the main stem, but it's all these tributaries that you're talking about, these creeks that I'm taking a jet boat up for 30 minutes on a full rip. It's 8, 10, 15 feet deep with 20-foot holes. And there's low head dams throughout the river like you see on the James. And, I have a jet, and like in those conditions, that's arguably not the right tool for the job. There's so much musky water around there that is probably better accessed with a raft or, slipping a canoe down a hill. And, 428 miles of musky holding water is pretty cool. So I think, a number of guys were there. number of teams were there up to a week prior, and I'm excited for the years to come, and it feels like something that's just going to keep getting bigger, um, and that's after 2 years where there was, I mean, really catastrophic flooding like the week prior for both. So, um, it's man, the potential there is just so high, and it's already so fun. So it was another good year. I will um ungracefully move on to the Tog and the South Holston actually producing bugs, which is, I don't sound as excited as I am or as I was. There are days where the conditions, the atmosphere, the cloud cover, the barometer, water levels, all that stuff is telling me there's going to be a blanket blue wing hatch and dry fly fishing in the snow, and like all this stuff over the last 5 years. And it's just been because of the only thing I can attribute this to is the amount of still like very fine particulate from Helene is reading. I haven't interviewed the bugs yet, but reading to the bugs, um, still too dangerous to try to get up, just like they're not going to come up in a whole lot of water. But this, with a couple warmer days, and I think, all these plants, insects, fish can feel the days lengthening. It was just popping off. I mean, if there's ever we're worried about the number of fish in this tailwater, it's like, well, no, they're tailwater fish, and their job is to not die. You go out on a day like Friday with some sections of the river that aren't even good dry fly stretches, just popping bank to bank the entire stretch, moving water, flat water, little caddis, blue wings, big blue wings, little blue wings. We got checking rocks and seeing the daisy chains of the big caddis, and seeing a couple of those fluttering around. Sulfurs are right around the corner. Like that was a much needed. Okay, this is still here. Because it's been a lot of bug free days and a lot of work on the streamer front, which is always good. But man, you like those little hour or two breaks fishing to risers. So, yeah, things are feeling pretty springy, if you will, and so it's, especially with the temps, it's feeling like that's right around the corner.
And ironically, it is. And shifting gears even one more time for you, got a question from Marty Maves, and he wanted to get your thoughts on, kind of what you look for in the creeks and rivers in East Tennessee for spring smallmouth.
Yeah. So I'm just going to attack this a couple different ways, and also do so somewhat lightly. Just because I've spent a lot of time fishing for smallmouth throughout my life and in East Tennessee, but that's just an area where, muskie and brown trout have been my focus. But so first, just approaching, water. I would say that if you're just blue lining, you can go from the major rivers that have smallmouth in them, and we'll just say the French Broad and the Nolichucky, for example. And then and from there you start looking for, this would be like my blue line trajectory. If you are looking on maps where you have the ability to look at elevation changes, and finding any of the like satellite imagery where there's lots of structure and riffly stuff and drops in elevation, those are assuming you're going out in the the right time frame, which we'll get to. I would say those are good places to target, and up from there in the tributaries or just like near those zones. And then the next would be, looking at those tributaries and finding like near the mouths and not terribly far up them, but finding some of those that are starting to approach the upper 40s, low 50s temperatures, and look for, in a lot of these places, man, you're gonna see caddis start going. You're gonna see food. You're gonna see crawdads. You're gonna see shad schooling up. If there's certain stretches of creek that'll be coming into these TVA managed, not tailwater propers, but like part of the tailwater reservoir system throughout the TVA. So sections of the Clinch, sections of the Holston proper. Not to give away too many spots, but like there's so much water around here that I think people, you tend to look at the Nolichucky or the French Broad or the Doe or the Holston proper, and I'm not going to give any other names because so many people have their favorite spots that are not any of those. And same with trout, man. I'm in Jonesboro, about 10 minutes from Johnson City, and just a 10-minute drive down the road, I took my 6-year-old and just blind casting dry flies and getting wild rainbows, and like that it's a pretty small mountain stream, spring fed, and like that's a trout stream, but looking for some of those bigger ones that are attached to these larger rivers. Those are going to have some fired up smallmouth pretty soon, and if they're too skinny, go down near where the mouth is, and there truly is so much water just in East Tennessee that spend a little time on Google Maps and then just go out a couple times, and if it's not on, maybe give it a day or two, and after it's on for a bit and you start seeing them pair up, pack it in.
Well, there you go. Well, folks, we love questions on the articulate fly. You can email me, DM me on social media, whatever's easiest for you. And if we use your question, I will send you some articulate fly swag. And we are drawing for some cool stuff from Ellis at the end of the season. And, Ellis, like we always do, we want to know, how to reach out to get on your guide calendar, status of you should be coming up, probably working since we're in Lent now. You should be working on your Easter egg colors for your bucktails, all that kind of good stuff on the bucktail front too.
Yes, sir. I was actually doing a little bucktail work today just to make sure that I'm not doing too much of one thing. Bucktail will be available at Ellis Ward Flies. I'll keep everyone updated on that via Instagram, and that is at Ellis Ward Guides. And best way to reach out, bucktail fishing, talking to me about crawdads and the French Broad, whatever you want. My cell phone at 513-543-0019.
Well, there you go. Well, folks, as I always say, since it's warming up now, particularly in the Southeast, if you're somewhere cold, tie flies, go to a fly fishing show. But for the folks in the Mid-Atlantic Southeast, you owe it to yourself to get out there and catch a few. Tight lines, everybody. Tight lines, Ellis.
Appreciate it, Marv.